Hey, Frank, aside from just maybe some obvious energy difference in the second half, did you see anything specifically that was just enabling the offense to get going so much where you got a season high in points and a half?
I think in the first half, we were executing decently, and we missed a lot of open looks. But the second half, I think once we felt like we got the game under control, then everybody starts feeling confident, and we try to preach pace. Our offensive pace in the first half of the last two games on the last trip was off the charts. We scored over 70 points. We wanted to start the game that way. We didn't really start the game that way, and sometimes that happens. But you continue to talk about it and preach it, and ask for it and push for it, and it came around. And obviously our pace gets negated if we don't get stops and if we foul. So we did a better job with that in the second half as well.
Hey, Frank, LeBron's numbers are always pretty good, but when AD hasn't been on the floor, how similar or different do you see his approach being versus other games?
I think he's always in attack mode, but probably a little bit more when AD's out. And, I don't know what the numbers look like, but he's going to do whatever it takes to win. If that means getting his teammates involved, that's what he'll do. If that means being more assertive offensively, looking for his own shot or looking to attack the basket, that's what it looked like tonight.
Frank, does anything strike you about the LeBron-Tristan matchup, just about the switchability maybe of both players and where today's game is?
Yeah, it was unusual. We were trying to figure out if anybody else started their center on LeBron, and I don't think anybody's done that this year. But Tristan's a unique type of center. He has that ability to guard in those matchups. Obviously, there's a familiarity there, and they don't have a lot of great other options. They're pretty small at the wing position, so it did present a unique challenge that may have had something to do with why the first half was a little bit out of rhythm for us. Just a different type of matchup. We know teams are going to try to junk games up with certain things like that, and I thought we did a good job throughout the game, just figuring out the right way to attack it.
What did you think? You talked about getting back in control of the game. What did you feel like were the biggest factors to doing that after the first half?
I think we just executed better offensively, and when you're getting good shots on goal, you get your defense set. We get our defense set, we're pretty good. We're pretty hard to score on, and again, the first half defensively was probably the most disappointing part of the night. We executed and missed some open looks, but our attention to detail in the first half defensively was very poor, and that was illustrated at halftime. And I thought we did a better job of that in the third.
Did you anticipate that Dwight would be this good of a fit with the team, and what do you think games like this do for him mentally?
I did anticipate that he, if he came in and his attitude was right and his role acceptance was, what we had hoped it would be, that he could be a heck of a piece, a heck of an asset for us. And so I did anticipate that he could have a strong impact, maybe not as much as he's having. He was a monster tonight, 21 of 15. What was the second part of your question? Well, I just think every small success any of our players have, it just builds confidence and strength in what we can accomplish. And when you know that each guy on the floor can come in and have dominant performances like that, we got a lot of guys on our roster that can impact the game in a strong, positive way like that. It just contributes to the overall confidence of the team.
Frank, you guys are basically halfway through at this point. What's left sort of for you as a coaching staff to still kind of learn about the group that you have and things you're trying to discover, things like that?
Well, we got to sustain it. We still have 42 games to play and hopefully a lot of playoff games. Doing it for small stretches of the season don't really matter. We've got to be able to do it, throughout 82 and into the playoffs. And, you got to fight slippage, as you go through, through an 82-game season. Your offense may start to click and your defense starts to slip a little bit. The attack changes. Teams figure out what we're doing well, and they'll attack us differently or they'll defend us differently based on trying to take away the things we're having success with. So it's a constant evolution throughout the 82-game season where, we have to just see how our opponents are changing, how they're approaching us, and, sustain our success.
But you basically have the sort of the fundamental character of the team and all that. You feel like that's...
Yeah, in terms of figuring ourselves out, I mean, we haven't really toyed around with a lot of different lineups and rotations because the formula we're using is working. So I think there's still some of that we can continue to tinker with.
Hey, Frank, you talked a lot about the defense and intangibles of Caruso. Last couple of games, like 6 assists tonight. He's made 5 of his last 6 threes. Where do you think he can still go and get to with that type of more traditional point guard play and just evolving overall?
He's a jack of all trades. We've been playing him at the wing as a defensive specialist. He can handle the point, like you just alluded to. He's just an invaluable piece of our success this year for the variety of ways that we can use him. And tonight it was sharing the backup point guard role with Quinn Cook, but he did have a nice stretch when he was a lone ball handler out there, and he just has great value because of the versatility that he has to his game.
Frank. Anthony's such a big part of what you guys do defensively and the effectiveness. When he's out, what are either the philosophies or approaches in terms of trying to offset that absence?
Well, we just have to be, more cautious about individual matchups at that position. Like Kevin Love is a tough matchup for anybody, but we would feel better with Anthony Davis out there than anybody else that we have on our roster. But you have to just look at those types of things, the matchups. But I thought Kuz and Duds did a terrific job competing, and we sort of brought some help. We tried to take some things away from K Love, in a more creative way than we would have had to with Anthony out there. But it's a team game. But he's one of those guys that can handle his own matchup and handle all the pick and roll ball handlers in the league on his own. So you just have to get a little more creative.
Frank, when you talk about those small successes, building confidence for all your guys, how important is it to make sure that everybody top to bottom is getting those over the course of the season and to kind of, I guess, build out your depth by the time you get to the end of the year? Because you don't have a chance to do that for some of these guys when you're at full strength.
No question. And, that is part of the mission of the head coach of an NBA team is to make sure that guys are continuing to get opportunities. I told Quinn Cook and Troy Daniels and Duds, we don't like to see those guys, having going too many games with DNPs, and we got to get opportunities to get them in there and to get some work and to be coached and improved and for them to find rhythm, all those types of things. And this stretch has been invaluable from that standpoint for those guys being able to get in there, get some rhythm, get some confidence.